Chapter 11. Let's get spicy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As for Xiao, at the beginning, he could use the blue wave pill to create various forms, caught Valpo off guard. One moment he was defending with his fur, and the next moment he was striking with force and antlers. Although Xiao beat Valpo to a very embarrassing state, he soon figured out the way to go. After eating a lot of snow, Valpo was resurrected with full health. He started to press down on Xiao and hit him. The situation was immediately reversed. Bang! Unable to dodge, Xiao was hit directly in the head by a shell. It was blown away straight away. The wall at the door was hit with a bang. Where inside was a little anxious when he saw this. Xiao can't bear it anymore. At this time, the treatment came to an end. The bruises on his back have basically disappeared. The internal injuries have almost recovered. It's just that his face looks a bit. To be honest, Weir doesn't dare to look at it. Alright. He patted Ji on the back to indicate that he was done. Ding, congratulations to Sue for gaining the ability, physical fitness. What? Just physical fitness? This one was a bit poor at stealing, because Ver wanted Ji's kicking skills. His physical fitness is of no use, he doesn't know how to use it. Now he has Xiao's legs strengthened. The original plan was to kill everyone after acquiring Ji's kicking skills, but now I only gave him physical fitness. No. The current Xiao is almost dying, but he can't beat that guy with just one cure. I have to let cure the shadow again. There might even be rewards. Now we can only give it a try. With Will thinking like this, he started to turn his head left and right to look for something. At this time, Yu's face turned green. The psychological shadow has already been produced for a long time, seeing that there was nothing left to vomit. Looking extremely weak, but he also knows that there is no time to rest now. I felt my back and it really didn't hurt at all. Jia stood up immediately, prepared to support Xiao, but at this time, Weir held a mirror in his hand and pointed it at Qi. Silence, silence. Zai was stunned on the spot, looking at the figure in the mirror with an unbelievable look on his face. Finally, after a short 2 seconds, he screamed like a slaughtering pig. Everyone looked at him, but when they saw it, everyone's expressions changed. Everyone looked frightened, startled by what they saw in front of them. What a face that is! The eyes are one big and one small, one tall and one short. The nose should be directed with the nostrils facing forward. The mouth is also extremely big, and the teeth inside are all exposed, which is more violent than buck teeth. The face is bigger and strange, and square and upright. This look would definitely make Valpo so disgusted that he dared not open his mouth, but when Zai looked at this look, his heart went cold. His expression also became ugly. The already extremely ugly facial features are paired with an ugly expression. It's absolutely easy to scare a child into tears. All that was thinking in Zai's mind at this time was that I was finished, and I would never have the face to see anyone in the future. No pretty girl will ever like me again. Naomi-san's expression said everything. My career as a pervert has stopped here, just like my life. What is the meaning of my life? No one will even eat the food I cook. Seeing this face, I can't even eat, let alone other people. I can't live anymore. Let me die. At this time, Gigi felt as if he had been possessed by Perona's negative ghost, and he withered on the spot. I knelt down and thought about the meaning of my life. He looked devastated. Ding, congratulations to Sue, you got 1000 negative points. Ding, congratulations to Sue for gaining the cooking skill. The system sound also sounded at this time, coming. The kicking skills are here. It's not in vain that I worked hard to fix the problem, it's finally here. If the patient can be shadowed twice, he can actually gain the ability twice, and he was lucky enough to get Kai's kicking skills. Feeling the skill of using his legs in his mind, Weir now felt that he was terrifyingly strong. Just Valpo. Zai. Get up quickly. That deer is going to be killed. Luffy had an anxious look on his face, looking at the collapsed Chiji. He now wished he could rush away by himself, but he can't. I could only keep shouting S name. Xiao is really in trouble here. At this time, it was lying on the bed panting heavily, with a trace of blood dripping from the corner of its mouth. At this time, Weir no longer hesitated. His little apprentice had been fighting for too long. He rushed away immediately, but looking at his actions at this time, Luffy and others looked surprised. He is a doctor. What are you running for? Now, shouldn't the goal be to wake up quickly? Hey! Doctor! Why are you going? Are you going to die? In this case, you might as well let me do it, Luffy said anxiously. Nami also said in agreement, ah. You will only cause trouble if you go. Don't go there. Just treat the horse and it will be fine. Dr. Dory's wife also looked worried. This guy is too reckless, going there at this time would not save anyone at all, that would be irresponsible for one's own life, it was extremely stupid. Although stupid, she still felt very relieved. Will's current behavior made Dolly's doctor completely agree. Doing this to Joe was enough to prove that he was a qualified and good master, but Will ignored their shouts and just ran towards Joe. Because Joe was immediately smashed to death, Valpo was now holding a sledgehammer made of wall bricks and smashing it towards Joe. The sledgehammer was also the product he had just made by eating the wall. It was as big as 3 stoves. It looked like he was going to smash Joe to death with one hammer. Moo ha ha ha. You monster. Go to hell. Valpo jumped high and smashed Joe hard with a thunderous half-moon slash. At this time, Xiao had recovered his small form, and he could only close his eyes. He couldn't hide. Master, I haven't learned anything yet, am I going to die? Before he died, Xiao thought of this, but after waiting for a while, he didn't feel any pain. Confused, he slowly opened his eyes. He saw a tall figure blocking him. The exaggerated sledgehammer was also held tightly by the figure's feet. Under the sledgehammer, Will's figure looked extremely small, but such a small figure made it difficult for the sledgehammer to move forward. The 3 people who were worried on the side widened their eyes when they saw this. What's going on? Nami shouted loudly. She looked unbelievable. Isn't he a doctor? How could he be so strong? That hammer is so big, that even Luffy, who is a big man, was stunned. Originally, he thought that Will was powerless, but at this moment, he was shocked by Will's strength. Even the Dr. Dorio looked incredible. Is this guy so powerful? She couldn't help but wonder. With his hands in his pockets, he can only use his feet. Will turned to Joe behind him and said, watch out, Joe, a doctor who can only treat is not a good doctor. Some diseases can only be cured by fists and feet. Window, _tabula equals window, _tabula, _tabula. Push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target _type, mix. Chapter 12 Am I Mustard Strong? You are listening at novelfull.audio. After speaking, Weir turned around and took Valpo's sledgehammer aside. Valpo also fell next to Weir under the influence of inertia, but at this time, Weir's roundhouse kick had already landed on Valpo's face. Strengthen the legs, Wilmer chanted. The second before kicking him, you can clearly see that Will's right leg has grown in size. Valpo only felt an overwhelming force coming from him. His expression was extremely horrified, his face was severely deformed, and his mouth was almost kicked to his forehead. After a loud bang, Valpo disappeared directly from the spot. At this time, the mouths of Luffy and others all formed an O shape. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? At this moment, several people felt like they were possessed by the master, and they just wanted to shout a few times about what was going on. Weir, who didn't look strong at all and even seemed a bit quiet, actually kicked the guy several hundred meters away. Luffy's jaw hit the ground with a bang, his eyes widened even more. There's something wrong with this doctor. The corners of Nami's mouth twitched slightly and she spoke with a trembling tone. The momentum of the kick just now shook the snow around where the brown ground below was exposed. It does seem a little different. Dr. Dolly also replied. At this time, Chopper, who was behind Weir, had his eyes wide open. It just knows. His master is the best. At this time, its worship of Weir has reached a high-rise building. In his heart, Weir was so tall that he couldn't even see his head. With a desperate look on his face, G temporarily forgot his despair after seeing Weir's blow. There was a complicated look on his face. Kicking skills. He can actually play football. And he's actually stronger than me. But why are these kicking skills so similar to mine? Weir himself was also frightened by what he did just now. Am I so fierce? Only then did he gain 3 combat abilities. Am I that fierce? Chopper, watch carefully and study hard. This is the first lesson I teach you. After saying that, Weir attacked Valpo again. Chopper, whose eyes were filled with little stars, was left looking at his back with admiration. Brother is so kind to me. I will definitely study hard. Valpo flew several hundred meters away before finally stopping. He was in severe pain on his face, but before he could recover, he saw a rapidly rotating figure falling towards him from the sky. Stop! Stop! Valpo yelled in panic, but it was of no use. In the blink of an eye, the spinning Weir had already hit Valpo on the head with a kick from top to bottom. This powerful impact caused Valpo's entire body to begin to compress rapidly. He became more and more deflated, his eyes began to fade away, a few of his teeth were broken, and a large mouthful of blood gushed out of his mouth. The middle of his head was deeply dented by this powerful blow, there were more and more whites in his eyes. And he soon became completely unconscious. Ah! Seeing Valpo lying on the ground, everyone was stunned. 2 moves. Chopper felt even more incredible. The person just hit it so much that it hurts. It treats people like scratching an itch, but when I got to my eldest brother, my feet were lifted directly by him. This is too outrageous. Chopper also really realized the gap between his elder brothers. At this time, Weir also fell next to Valpo. Looking at the unconscious Valpo, there is also some lack of interest. This guy can't handle it after 2 moves. He also wants to test how strong he is now. It seems we can only wait until next time. He looked at the unconscious Valpo and kicked him away. Valpo drew a long arc and fell. Disappeared from everyone's sight. After patting him, Weir walked towards Chopper. This kid is really worrying. It's injured, and I have to help it heal. Really, so right. Veer looked happy. As a veteran doctor who saves lives and heals the wounded, it is my mission to save people. At this time, seeing Weir walking towards him with a happy face, Chopper's admiring eyes suddenly turned into fear. Broken. I'm hurt. Chopper was beginning to despair. I don't know how the master will treat it this time, although being treated is hugely bad news, but at least I can experience the master's method personally. It's not a bad loss either. Chopper comforted himself in his heart. Will came over and grabbed Chopper's antlers. Lift the whole deer up. Come on, I'll help you take a closer look at what's going on. Will said in a brisk tone. Okay, big brother. Chopper looked like he was about to cry without tears, and replied pitifully. Back in the house, several people looked at Weir in a completely different way. Luffy was normal just now, but now, he looked like he was worshipping a great god. Now he only finds this powerful doctor who saves people with a pickaxe extremely interesting. His eyes began to sparkle. When Weir came in, he first looked at Gongji. Now he just wanted to say, Ji. Your kicking skills are good. Very useful. Ji knew what he was thinking, so he should say, it's useful. I earned it with my lifelong inferiority complex. Weir patted Ji, who was lying on the ground, and said earnestly, appearance is just a shell, and the soul is the key to attracting people. Ji, who was motionless, finally moved after hearing this. He slowly raised his head and looked at Weir. When Weir saw Ji's face, he quickly moved his head to the side. His eyes became erratic. He didn't dare to look at it for fear of vomiting. Ji was furious when he saw this. Didn't you say that you don't care about appearance? Look at me. You bastard! Ji collapsed and shouted, trying to awaken Weir's conscience, but Weir didn't have this thing at all, so how could he awaken it? But seeing S appearance, Weir couldn't bear it and hurriedly told him the truth. Actually, this is the side effect of the bottle of medicine. It will only last for 1 day. Don't worry too much. As soon as Weir finished speaking, he saw, who was desperate and dull in his eyes, began to change visibly. His eyes were shining again, his face was smiling again, and his life was bright again. Just wanted to say it this time. Beauties. I, Han-san, am back. Really? Asked excitedly. Not true. I just lied to you. Was instantly shocked. Weir sighed. Ding, congratulations to Sue for getting 500 negative points. Nice. Received. No, no, really, I will be back tomorrow. Look, it's written on the bottle. Looking at the feet that were already close, it was fortunate that Will spoke quickly. G stopped at this point. He took the medicine bottle from Will. It was indeed written on it that it would only last for 1 day. G's cloudy weather turned sunny immediately. He held the medicine bottle tightly in his hand and laughed out loud. Ha 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 ha. Wait. 1 day later. The most handsome man in the world will be back. Chapter 13. What if I am also an animal? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zai immediately returned to his high-spirited appearance. As long as this is not permanent skin, there is still hope in life. And everyone is happy. Veer is also happy, and so is Zai. It's just for fun. If you're happy, I'm happy too. It's over. Erdu is happy and blooming. The negative points gained by Zai here are already more than the total points he gained from other places. It seems that as long as we take the right medicine, the negative points will disappear quickly. For the sake of sustainable development in the future, we're also redeemed a pack of Chinese food from the mall again. Throw it to for treatment. Give it to you. This is a good cigarette from my collection. G took it and Vel threw at the cardboard box. After opening it, I clicked on one with some doubts, but after he took a swipe, his eyes widened in that horrified face. What does it feel like? So smooth and silky, actually smokes so well. I once smoked, and it was all rubbish. At this moment, cigarette products instantly reached a new level. I have never smoked a good cigarette, and when I suddenly came to Baohua, I felt stupid. Even the depressed mood just now disappeared instantly, disappeared without a trace. His face even looked ecstatic. The smoke from the pirate world seems to be very strong and choking to death. What a smoke! What a smoke! Zai also sighed at this time, looking at the whole package of in. His treasure is dying. Collect it carefully. The eyes he looked at were no longer the same as before. He felt like he had found a soulmate. If we hadn't been busy, he would have hugged his neck and said, "Good brother." At this time, Will also looked at Chopper, and first put it on the sofa where Nami was lying just now. How's it going, Chopper? What's wrong with you? Tell me about it. As Will spoke, he opened his own medical kit. Seeing this scene, Chopper's heart trembled again. Brother, I'm fine. I'll drink some hot water, okay? Chopper said with a trembling tone and fear on his face. Will looked at Chopper's broken head, bruised nose, swollen face, and obviously broken arm. He shook his head helplessly. Forget it, let me handle this for you as a teacher, and you can take care of the rest by yourself. After Will finished speaking, Chopper immediately became energetic. Okay. Thank you, brother. I will change my own medicine and so on. Chopper looked happy, and his facial expressions changed extremely quickly. Brother, just bandage it and I will handle the follow-up by myself. Just take it easy. It's great, you don't need to feel the power of Big Brother's super injection anymore. It's just a bandage. It's so simple. Then it saw that Verna was full of virus and disinfectant, and seemed to have been wrapped in several shared bandages. Chopper's face immediately turned frightened. The body is full of sweat and hair, and the horse stands up. The body began to retreat unconsciously. Here, let me put a bandage on you after disinfection. After saying this, Will immediately grabbed Chopper's head and was about to start disinfecting Chopper and applying a bandage. Poor Chopper, he can't do anything except provide negative points to Will through his madness. It has a look of despair and a look of tears. He really didn't expect that his big brother could do so many tricks with just a bandage. Brother. Big brother. I have it. I have a bandage. I have disinfectant. Can you use me? Use me. With his head pinched, Chopper was still making the last effort. No, I'm very effective. That the items in your own medical kit can greatly increase the probability of psychological shadow. Although he didn't know why, it turned out to be true. How could he do it in exchange for Chopper's stuff? As he said this, Wei Air had already started to move. Soon, after a quick little operation by Weir, the battle-damaged version of Chopper was fresh. The bandages on it are so shabby and full of stories. It turned Chopper into a reindeer with a story. It was squatting aside silently at this time, quietly wiping tears. Ding, congratulations to the host, you got 200 negative points. Not bad, put on a bandage and give me 200. It's already pretty good. Now, even Dr. Dolly didn't stop her when she saw Will putting such a bandage on Chopper. This may be some kind of superb therapy that she has never seen before. Perhaps a worn-out bandage would have a better recovery effect. Will was in a good mood at this time. He looked at Chopper squatting in the corner, looking extremely depressed. Seeing this look, Will felt guilty. Forget it, my disciple, please take care of your emotions. Will also directly handed over a marshmallow. Don't say I'm a strict teacher. Come on, I'll give it to you. Eat it. Chopper was squatting in the corner and drawing circles. He had a sad look on his face, but looking at the strange bandages on his body, he just felt uncomfortable and dying. It's tempting to rip them off, but I was afraid that my elder brother would tell me about it, so I could only endure it silently. At this time, I suddenly smelled a fragrance. Chopper unconsciously closed his eyes and started to smell. After taking 2 puffs, Chopper's eyes lit up. Marshmallow. It's Marshmallow. Don't talk about being a teacher. At this time, the voice of Veer sounded in its ears again. Looking back, Will held a marshmallow and handed it over. After listening to Vill's words and looking at the marshmallow, Chopper looked touched. Brother, it is so weird. Chopper grabbed the marshmallow and licked it. The little expression of grievance was also wiped away, changed to a happy reindeer smile. Ah! What kind of bandage is that? It's almost rotten with. How can it be used to treat pinching? Watching Luffy for a long time, looking at the battle-damaged version of Chopper, he also had questions. When Chopper heard that someone actually dared to question it being so gentle, Master, he stopped eating marshmallows for the time being, and opened his mouth to defend Weir. How could there be something wrong with my master's stuff? I feel fine now, Chopper said with his hands on his hips and a serious expression. The master just gave it a marshmallow, and it would never allow itself to sit idly by. But when Luffy heard what it said, not only was he not angry, but he looked eager to try. Is it true? Would it be okay to wrap it around that kind of bandage? Whoa ho ho ho. It's amazing. Doctor. Can you wrap that bandage around me too? I also want to try how it feels. Luffy looked excited. He couldn't wait to try it himself. Nami on the side hit him on the head again with a bang. Are you crazy? What if it's for animals? Luffy covered his head in pain and said with a wronged expression, what if I'm an animal too? Will, the situation seems a little not good. Chapter 14. Okay. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After listening to Luffy's words, Will also felt dizzy. This guy seems so scared. How can we get negative points from him? How can we give him a reasonable shadow? If that's really the case, am I losing money to Dafa? It's simply more uncomfortable than winning $1 million in the lottery, only to have it blown away by the wind. The contents of his old medical kit were actually ineffective against Luffy. This. Okay. You must try it. You will know after you try it. See if he really does what he says. That is for wrapping animals. Of course it can be used by people. Come on. I'll help you bandage your hands and feet. Saying this, Will pulled Luffy to sit on the sofa. Watching this scene, both Nami and Gigi became nervous. Will their Captain Gigi be killed? After all, it looked really scary. There are even small insects squirming in the disinfectant water. Is there really any problem? There has already touched their throats and eyes, but Luffy looked indifferent, and even had an amused smile on his face. Come on, Doctor. I want to be like that reindeer. When I go back, I will definitely scare Zoro and the others. Ha ha ha. He clapped his hands as he spoke, then he stretched out his hands and feet directly, asked Veer to bandage him. Upon seeing this, We're finally confirmed that this guy was really a little scared. He also had a headache and held his forehead with one hand. It seems that he still has a long way to go if he wants to capture Luffy. While thinking about it, the movements of his hands stopped at all. Fingers and toes were all disinfected, and there were even insects moving on the disinfected feet. Luffy looked surprised. Doctor, is this insect helping me treat my injuries? This is really powerful. Ha ha ha, that Will ignored him. He had given up now and just wanted to wrap up this guy quickly. 1 stick, 2 sticks. Soon all Luffy's injuries were bandaged. In fact, He wasn't injured at all, just because he climbed such a high place with two people with his bare hands, wrap up the injuries on his hands and feet and let him recover slowly. This guy is so good at sit-ups, he should just use a few. He was too lazy to spend negative points in exchange for something for him to use. Okay. After saying this, Will stood up. Luffy looked at his well-wrapped limbs and jumped up. There was still a look of surprise on his face. Hey! It's really okay. Xiaolu. Look, I have it too. Ha ha ha. As he spoke, Luffy took Chopper's hand and shook it. He looked like he was running smoothly, but at this moment, he suddenly stopped jumping. What did he think of? He turned to look at Will, who was packing his tools. That, Doctor. 3 of us have been treated by you. How do you calculate the medical expenses? Hearing this, Nami's eyes lit up. It was the right thing to pay for medical treatment. Although she likes money, she would like to save any money. The reason why her eyes lit up was that her stupid captain actually thought of giving money. It's simply incredible. My brain is finally normal for once. We didn't even look at him when he heard this. After packing up everything, he said casually, "What money do you need, buddy?" Nami's eyes lit up when she heard these words. This doctor. Handsome collect money. Absolutely amazing. Except for her somewhat cruel methods, she is simply Nami's ideal type. Really? Luffy's mouth was also open at this time. I was surprised by Weir's generosity. In his opinion, it would cost money to treat so many injuries in such a short period of time, but Vale actually said it was free. Luffy felt that the person in front of him was getting more and more interesting, and he liked this guy more and more. When he looked at Weir now, he was already smiling from ear to ear. Now on their ship, they are just short of a doctor. If there were doctors, they would just waste time and take a detour to this island. Luffy had already set his sights on Will at this time, but Chopper on the side was not noticed by him. Just when he was about to invite Weir, there was another loud noise outside the house. This also attracted the attention of everyone in the room again. Who? Is anyone coming? Luffy rolled up his sleeves and walked outside, but as soon as he walked to the door and saw someone coming outside, Luffy's angry expression disappeared in an instant and was replaced by a cheerful smile. W.A. Zoro. Usopp. Vivi. Luffy yelled and ran outside. Hearing his shout, Weir also looked over longingly. A large group of people were standing outside. The leader is Dalton, the buffalo fruit powerhouse who looks relatively weak. His injuries were also caused by Valpo's men, but it has already been treated by Dr. 20. Those 20 guys seem to suddenly have an idea. Save him who is dying. When he woke up, he didn't hesitate and rushed towards the magnetic drum immediately, because Valpo is here and he wants to get rid of that guy. I met a few people from the Straw Hats on the way, and they took the cable car to come here together. Dalton looked at Luffy running towards him, and then at the damaged gate, but he didn't see Valpo. Is the battle over? There was a little confusion on his face. The people behind him had the same expression. Where are the Valpo people? At this time, all the people in the room came out. Zoro and the others were also surprised to see Nami, who was fine. Hey! How long has it been? How come you look like you've recovered completely? You looked like you were dying before. The green algae-headed man asked in confusion. Usopp also found it incredible. What kind of magic medicine did you take? How come you're so full of energy so quickly? Vivi was even more confused. As a princess of a country, she had never heard of a fever being cured so quickly. That's right, Vivi is now following Luffy and the others, and the next stop is Alabasta. Seeing their shocked eyes, Luffy smiled. He. Awesome, right? I think it's awesome too. This was all done by that doctor. After that, he whispered to the two of them, I was planning to invite him to our ship. Hearing this, they immediately turned their attention to Will. The first word they saw was handsome. Will had flowing hair and a strong body, but he also looked very powerful. He wore a white gown and a pair of universal slippers. At this time, he put one hand in his pocket and looked at them. In the other hand, he held a medical box that looked a little worn out. The box looked very comfortable. At this time, Luffy told them about Will's treatment of Nami. The expressions on their faces immediately changed, and the way they looked at Will also changed. This quiet handsome guy, when he rescued someone, turned out to be so brutal. Just as they were shocked, Gigi's face appeared in their sight. For a moment, the air seemed to be quiet. Chapter 15. Are you crazy? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Zoro was the first to hold back and burst into funny and powerful laughter. Listening to the laughter from the other side, Sanji's fist became harder and harder. Ha 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 ha. Why did the perverted chef end up like this? Ha ha ha, I died laughing. Zoro laughed so hard that he straightened up and his thighs made a slapping sound. After hearing what he said, the other two people reacted. That person turned out to be Sanji. They didn't recognize it at all, and only Zoro could recognize it was Sanji at a glance. Just now, they were wondering which ugly guy was wearing the same clothes as Sanji. Green algae head. Make me laugh again. Sanji can't bear it anymore. A sliding shovel came to Zoro and kicked his leg towards his face. Zoro was willing to show weakness and fought with him with his sword. His mouth was still broken. Judging Sanji's face became darker and darker. When Luffy saw this, he also wanted to stop their behavior. Hey! Zoro, Sanji's face is also a side effect of the doctor's treatment. Don't laugh at him all the time. Hearing this, Zoro immediately jumped back and stopped, looking at Will with one hand in his pocket in shock. Side effect. Doctors save people. Side effects. What kind of thing can have such harsh side effects when saving people? Zoro suddenly thought of something and his expression became serious. Usopp's expression was the same as his, with a serious look on his face. Hey, Luffy, you just said you were going to let him be our ship's doctor, right? After Zoro finished speaking, he looked at Sanji's face. I felt a chill in my heart. Such a doctor. Is Luffy crazy? Yes, he is very interesting. You see, he bandaged the injury. It's so good. Zoro looked at Luffy's hands and feet, and there were several circles of shared bandages wrapped around his face. There seems to be something squirming inside the bandage. Zoro's eyes widened immediately. Usopp screamed and quickly walked away from Luffy. Hey Luffy! Something is moving in your hand. Luffy, on the other hand, looked calm and explained to them. Oh, tell me this, there are some small bugs in this, which can help with recovery. As he spoke, Luffy also opened a bandage and showed them the scene inside. Seeing this, Wei Wei vomited on the spot, her eyes full of fear. Wow vomited all over the floor. The other two people also looked frightened. My stomach also felt churning, but fortunately, they suppressed it. Oh, I took a look at the bag for you and went back. I have to ask the doctor to help me later. It's really troublesome. Luffy, on the other hand, thought that he would have to ask Will to put a bandage on him. This can make Zoro's eyes bristle with anger. Hey! Are you crazy, Luffy? Look what you are. You said that I will die soon. How dare you let such a guy join us? Do you think we live too long? Bar. If you are killed by the enemy, you will die in his hands sooner or later. Zoro collapsed and shouted, but Luffy didn't care. He also explained the situation to the two of them. Although it's a little weird, the injury is really healed. You are easily injured like Zoro. With him, you don't have to worry. Look at Sanji and Nami, they have fully recovered. He is a very powerful doctor. We must let him join us. Luffy didn't care about Zoro's advice at all, because he knew how powerful Veer was. And he is very powerful. The king was defeated by him just now. Ha. Zoro and Usopp looked at Will with some suspicion. With his small body, can he defeat that Valpo? Is he a doctor? Can doctors still fight? Both of them looked like they believed in each other, but behind them, Dalton and his group immediately surrounded them. Who do you think defeated that Valpo guy? Dalton asked with an anxious look on his face. That guy Valpo is bound to drive away people. With him, this country will be peaceful. This is also the reason why he hurriedly chased after him after he recovered from his injuries. Now that I heard that someone defeated Valpo, I would naturally be more anxious to know who it was. That's the doctor. The doctor in white clothes, he just used 2 moves to knock out the king. He is very powerful, ha ha ha. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. 2 moves. Someone actually defeated that guy Valbo, he even used 2 moves. How strong a person can do this? Everyone looked at we're in unison, the one wearing white clothes, the other one is lowering his head and thinking about something. Even Sauron couldn't believe it, that weird doctor is actually so strong. Even he can do this kind of thing. If it were to defeat that guy, Zoro thought he could do it, but it will definitely be too easy, but that guy actually used 2 moves to easily crush the fat man Valpo. True or false? Although he was a little skeptical, this was what Luffy said, and Luffy would lie to him. That guy has really 2 tricks. Hey, Zoro, can you do that? Usopp on the side also asked with a shocked look on his face. Zoro did not answer, but looking at his frown, you can tell that the answer is no. Usopp took a breath. In his opinion, Zoro and Luffy are not much different. Since Zoro can't do it, Luffy can definitely do it. If Luffy really pulls him on the ship, then he will become the most powerful guy on the ship. Just when they were thinking about it, Dalton suddenly walked towards Will. His face was very excited. When he came closer, Will looked at Dalton in front of him and understood something. What is this guy going to do? Why does he look so excited? Just when he was about to ask, but suddenly, this guy knelt down to him with a bang. This scene shocked Will. It also shocked everyone present. Brother, kneel down when I say so. But Dr. Doriel seemed to have expected this scene and was not surprised at all. This man always thinks about this country. Now someone has helped him solve the problem that he can't solve by himself, so it's not surprising that he kneels down to thank him. Thank you for your contribution to this country. Dalton dragged his severely injured body and bowed his head to Will. Will also reacted at this time, but he still felt that this guy was a bit too much. Did he solve Valpo? As for knocking like this, but he didn't know how much damage Valpo had caused to this country. Chapter 16. I'm not called Doctor, I'm called Will. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The people in the rear were even more glaring. Captain Dalton, they shouted in disbelief. They also felt that this seemed a bit too much. Some even wanted to come forward and pull Dalton, but they were all stopped by his eyes. Dalton ignored them. At this time, he also looked up at Will, and then said with gratitude, Valpo, that guy, has caused indelible damage to this country. But I, the army commander, can't do anything. Now you have defeated that guy, and we are grateful. You are the hero of our entire country. Dalton spoke from the bottom of his heart, expressing his helplessness as an army commander and his endless gratitude to Will. Will heard him say this and thought that the man in front of him was not bad. He patted his shoulder and pulled him up again. Looking at Dalton, who was excited, Will said, "It was just a casual move. Don't be so polite." Dalton thought he didn't know how important what he did was when he heard him say that, and was about to explain it again. Will raised his hand to interrupt him. Okay, I know. I won't say it anymore. The king is not dead yet. I just kicked him down. You guys go down and search now. Maybe you can find him. After that, Will pushed Dalton towards the cable car. Dalton wanted to thank him again, but Will didn't give him the chance. What are the 2 men doing? Will felt uncomfortable just thinking about it. How could Dalton not see Will's attitude? He knew that he didn't want to be disturbed too much. Although Dalton was full of gratitude, he also suppressed it in his heart. He didn't say anything more. Helpless, Dalton had to wave goodbye and take all the people away. They really had to go find him. If that guy escaped, their country would still not be at peace in the future. A group of people came in a mighty force and left in a mighty force. Before leaving, Dalton stared at Will with burning eyes. Although he knew that he was grateful, Will just couldn't stand it. Just now, this guy knelt down in front of so many people. That was really embarrassing for him, and he almost made a 3-bedroom apartment. He couldn't stand this the most. It was simply torture. He had already decided that if there was such a thing in the future, he would let Chopper do it. Let Chopper do it. He just had to watch from the side. This job was simply top torture. Seeing Dalton disappear from his sight, Will finally breathed a sigh of relief. At this time, Luffy and others also came over. Dr. Doriel didn't let everyone stand in the cold wind, but waved everyone into the house. Let's go, don't stand outside. After saying that, she walked in first. Everyone followed closely. When they arrived at the living room and everyone sat down, Luffy opened the door and said his thoughts without any nonsense. "Doctor. Do you want to join my pirate group? We are in need of a doctor on our ship." Hearing Luffy say this, Usopp and Zoro's expressions changed. After all, Koji and Nami received benefits from Will. They didn't have any objections to letting Will join, although the treatment was painful, but, looking at what Will took out later, it seemed that this treatment was not unbearable. Zoro didn't say anything more, although there was some opposition and resistance, but the captain's words, he would not refute. The captain's decision, he would not object even more. With Usopp left alone, it would be even harder for him to speak. He trembled and hoped that Will would be able to reject Luffy's rude request. Will's mouth slightly raised when he heard this, but he was already very happy in his heart. Ahahaha. Here they come. I said that Luffy likes to invite some strange things on board. If you want to join the Straw Hat Pirates, it's so easy, okay? Everything is under control. Although he was ecstatic in his heart, Will remained calm on the surface. He even looked a little scared by Luffy's words. "Ah. You want me to be a pirate with you? What's so good about being a pirate?" Will said with a look of reluctance. Seeing Will like this, Luffy was anxious. It can be seen that he really wants Will to join. Pirates are good. Pirates can take risks. Pirates can also eat and sleep. Well. Luffy racked his brains to convince Will, but he couldn't find any attraction in pirates. Experience the fun of chasing. Feel the baptism of the storm. Enjoy the surprise of encounters. At this time, Luffy really couldn't think of what was attractive about pirates, or rather, it was to attract ordinary people. It's so hard to find a reason to pull them on board. How about? Luffy said, and took out the meat stick stolen from Dolly's mother's house from his crotch. How about this meat for you? I want you to come to our pirate group. I'll give you delicious food every day. Luffy looked heartbroken. It seemed that this piece of meat was his life. When the others heard Luffy's words, their faces were all in disbelief. You still gave him meat? You still gave him delicious food every day? Can you look at the pain on your face first? This is what happened to a piece of stolen meat. When he gets on the ship, if you don't leave him a bone stick, he will have to kowtow to you, right? When everyone thought that Will would not agree, Will spoke up. Forget about eating the stick of meat you took out of your crotch. I'm not interested. But if you are short of a ship doctor, then I will join you. It shouldn't be too much trouble. He didn't expect Luffy to get so excited that he even took out the little food in his crotch. This is really a big investment. If he keeps pulling, Will is really afraid that this guy will take something out of his crotch again, or if he is not careful. Is it right? That scene is not very pretty. Now that he has agreed to board the ship, their next destination is Alabasta, which can provide him with a combat power boost that is absolutely immeasurable. And there are a lot of powerful devil fruit powers. If he can get one or two, it will definitely be a huge profit. His words also made Zoro sit down again. When he was about to stand up, he looked at Will with a little more recognition. Regardless of what this doctor is like, at least he thought of this and resolutely rejected the vice captain position offered by Luffy. This is enough to make Zoro feel good about him. The other few people also looked relieved. Luffy was also excited when he heard Will agreed. So you agree? Ha ha ha. We have a ship doctor too. No more worries about getting sick or injured. Luffy clapped his hands, looking extremely happy. That smile made everyone happy. They all raised their lips slightly. I'm not a doctor, I'm Will. Window, _Taboola equals window, _Taboola, push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, Taboola, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target _type, mix. Chapter 17. I'll tear your mouth apart if you keep saying that. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You are now the ship's doctor on our ship. We must hold a grand banquet to celebrate when we get back soon. Hey. Luffy also corrected himself in calling Will, and said that he would give him a welcome ceremony later. Will did not respond to Luffy, but looked at his little apprentice. Xiaoba, I'm ready to go on an adventure to the sea with them. As soon as Will said this, Chopper's eyes immediately trembled, tears began to well up in his eyes. Big brother is leaving, am I going to be abandoned? Chopper looked sad, there is a feeling in my heart that I can't say no. Now it just wants to find a corner to hide and cry hard. Okay, good journey, master. Although Chopper wanted to cry, he still held back his tears and responded to Will's words. After saying that, it took its own small steps, pretending to be relaxed, and walked towards its room. That little back view only adds a touch of vicissitudes of life. Where are you going? How can you learn Shirshir's medical skills if you don't follow him? Giovanna's calf suddenly stopped as he stepped forward, but he didn't look back. All you can see is that its shoulders are shaking. It must be crying. Finally, Chopper turned around and ran towards Will, throwing himself into his arms. Ah! Ah! I thought you were going to abandon me. Woohoo! Chopper burst into tears, his snot and tears smearing all over Will. Will's eyes widened at this time, looking at Chopper wiping his nose on himself. I really wanted to give it a fight with its two big dicks, but seeing its sad look, we're still held back. Forget it, let me wash it hard later. Thinking like this, Will also stretched out his hand and patted Chopper's back. Big brother will not abandon you. Once a brother, he will always be a father. Don't worry, I will treat you as my own. Hearing this, Chopper cried even harder. No one had ever been so kind to him before. In its small world, there is only darkness. It finally encounters a little light, but that light is fleeting. Dr. Dolly looked at the two of them so intimately, and she also smiled with relief. This boy is indeed a person worth trusting. Others could also feel the despair in Chopper's voice. He looked at Chopper with a hint of sympathy in his eyes. What has this little guy been through? To be so afraid of being abandoned. At this time, Vale was also holding Chopper and looking at Luffy. After wiping a handful of snot on his clothes, Weir said, it should be okay for my little apprentice to carry, right? You have also seen that he is still young and can't live without me. Hearing this, Chopper temporarily stopped crying, poked his little head out of Will's arms, and secretly looked at Luffy. It had an uneasy look on its face, fearing that Luffy would refuse. Luffy didn't object at all, and even raised his feet to express his agreement. Of course. This talking deer is also very interesting. Our ship suddenly has 2 more members. It's great. Ha 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 ha. Chopper finally smiled. The big stone hanging in my heart finally fell to the ground. It can learn medical skills from its master. At this moment, it suddenly remembered something and turned to look at Dr. Dolly. Yes, it hasn't asked Dr. Dolly for her opinion yet. If the doctor doesn't let it go, it doesn't seem to work. It looked hesitantly, wanting to ask something, fearing that the doctor would disagree. Looking at its appearance, how could it not know what it was thinking? But it wasn't as she imagined, because she couldn't worry about what touching words Chopper would say. She just kept a straight face and looked like she wanted to ask but dared not ask Chopper. Immediately afterwards, she suddenly shouted, "What are you looking at? Why do you think I will be with you? What else will you do besides causing trouble for me every day? I almost died outside when I asked you to pick some medicine. Even if I'm stupid, I don't care if I die. I'll only be overflowing with sympathy. I always make mistakes when I ask you to help me prepare some potions. What's the use of you here besides eating more of my food? Get out of here now." After saying that, she stood up angrily and walked towards the room inside. This sudden change made everyone look scared. What's wrong with this doctor? Why is he so angry all of a sudden? Everyone looked at each other in confusion, wondering why Dr. Dolly was so angry all of a sudden. Chopper, on the other hand, had been frightened for a long time. He stared blankly at the direction in which the doctor girl disappeared. It didn't know that the doctor's wife had such a strong opinion of itself. It turns out that I am so useless. When he was still a little dazed, Dr. Dolly had already come out of Chopper's room angrily carrying a bag. As soon as he came out, he started yelling at a group of people, "Let's go. All of you leave my house. Get out of here." This scene once again left everyone confused, but looking at her angry look, no one dared not listen. They all stood up one by one and walked quickly out the door. Dr. Dory was still yelling at Chopper, "Leave quickly. Take your broken bag. Don't take my place here. Once you leave, never come back again. You are so useless. Guys, you're you're just going to cause trouble for me when you come back. As he said that, he threw the medical kit towards Will. Will also lifted Chopper, wanting him to catch the medical box, but Chopper was hit by the medical box. Looking at the falling box, Will still came out to pick it up. He didn't dare to stay, and hurriedly took Chopper out, because Dolly had already started to pick up axes from the wall and threw them over. This scene really shocked Will. A 140-year-old old woman, holding a bunch of axes in her hands, chased a group of 20-year-old young people and threw them. Chopper! Don't stand there. The sled is running away. If you don't leave, you will be chopped and you will have to let your master treat you. That Will shouted to Chopper in his arms at this time. Chopper, who was originally sad, immediately widened his eyes after hearing the second half of Will's words. He jumped off from Will. He turned into a deer and pulled up the sled not far ahead. Will took the lead and sat on it. Chopper also quickly caught up with Luffy and others in front and picked them up. Seeing Chopper running fast, everyone shouted that they were finally safe. At this time, they had already run to the cable, and Chopper ran on it as if walking on flat ground. At this moment, a sharp axe whistled and chopped at the front of the sled with a bang. Will looked at the axe that brushed past his ear and took a breath, but Luffy found it very interesting. Ahahaha. This old woman is so interesting. She is so powerful. I want to invite her to join the ship. Hahaha, that he just finished speaking. He was hit hard on the head by an axe. Fortunately, it was on the back, and only a big bump was smashed on his head. Luffy cried out in pain. At this time, there was also a faint shout from the other side. I could vaguely hear her say, I am a 139-year-old beautiful girl. If you dare to call me an old woman again, I will tear your mouth apart. Chapter 18. It's really delicious. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In this way, the group of people quickly disappeared into the vast snow. The beautiful girl standing in the snow also shed tears silently. Chopper, you shouldn't be tied here. Run to the sea. The sea can eliminate all your pain. After saying that, she turned around sadly and returned to the empty and spacious living room. At this time, she discovered something on the table. That was a box of Moutai left by Weir. This. Even if you still have some conscience, it's like marrying your daughter. Let's buy some ingredients first. Why don't you have a banquet? The supplies on the ship are not enough. The ugly man's face was not so uncomfortable now. He opened up about the shortage of food on the ship. Okay. Let's buy some on the way back. Ha 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 ha. Banquet, banquet. Luffy had long forgotten what had just happened, and now he looked like a starving man again. Upon hearing this, Chopper also turned around and ran towards the place selling food. Well, sat alone at the end, lowered his head and thought about something. In fact, he is looking at how many negative points are left in total. Negative point balance, 3,570, more than 3,000. In just one trip, I actually made more than 3,000. The money-making situation of this thing is still linked to strength. Luffy and the others are not that strong right now, but the negative points came so quickly. Just Nami and Gigi provided themselves with more than 3,000 negative points. This is after they all grow up, then it will cost tens of thousands to start. By then, the mall will be my home. It's not just about talking about it. Moreover, he has also acquired the physical fitness and kicking skills that Zai had at this time, coupled with Chopper's leg strengthening and Nami's financial management proficiency. A total of 1 ability was obtained. This one only saved his teammates and forgot to save Valbo. Otherwise, there will definitely be something more in this wave. The next destination was Alabasta, and he had to take care of it no matter what. Fang, third brother, Lao Sha, Robin, these are all enemies he can consider picking up. Of course, Robin immediately wasn't. As long as one of their abilities is picked up by himself, it will definitely be an epic improvement. Even if you can't gather the ability, gathering some other combat power will definitely increase it greatly, and he also has teammates. His teammates must be injured, so he can save them. That couldn't even imagine how strong he was in this circle. Although acquiring abilities is random, it is impossible for him to be so lucky that he cannot draw any combat ability at all, and if he remembered correctly, Ace was there too. Ace is a real important character and powerful. If he can be cured, a wave of super invincible spiral explosions will definitely take off, whether it is the negative points he provides or the abilities gained from him, it will definitely make you feel happy, but he's so strong, it's not easy to get him hurt, he wouldn't be able to take action unless he was injured, gotta find a way, but what method can be used to injure Ace, a guy whose strength is far beyond this level? It's impossible for anyone to do it in Alabasta. Ace is invincible, after thinking hard for a long time, well still couldn't figure it out, this is simply too difficult, he was a level soldier, thinking about how to injure a 7th level boss, it's simply beyond the scope of ability, isn't it? We simply didn't want to think about it anymore, feeling the cold wind blowing on his face, he couldn't help but wrap his clothes tightly. Gulugu. A wail from the belly attracted everyone's attention, if it were Luffy and the others, they wouldn't be attracted, but the sound came from Will. Will rubbed his belly a little embarrassedly, after struggling for so long, he was a little hungry. It's already raining now, he hasn't eaten yet, I have just been busy for a long time, and my belly started to protest. Are you hungry? But we don't have anything to eat now. We won't have anything to eat until we get to the boat. Let me tell you, GS cooking is super delicious. I'm already drooling now. Luffy, a big eater, had actually been starving for a long time, but now he really had nothing to eat, he could only endure it, but at this moment, Will suddenly remembered that he had just put 2 sandwiches made by Chopper into the medical kit. That's right. I have 2 sandwiches. Chopper made them for me. Do you want to eat one? Luffy's eyes immediately lit up when he heard this. He stared at Will with an impatient look on his face. Really? Huh, that's great. Come on, there's just one for each of us. When Will heard this, he also picked up his box, opened it, and took out the 2 sandwiches from inside, but when he mentioned his medical kit, everyone's eyes changed slightly, just a slight change, but when he actually took out those 2 things, everyone's expressions changed suddenly. Guji and Zoro, who were close to Weir, moved forward involuntarily. What Weir took out was really hard to look at. First of all, both of them were moldy. The thick mold made it difficult to recognize their original appearance. The second thing is what's inside. In one of them, there was a slender hand lying quietly inside, a few white fingers were hanging out, the nails were still painted with red nail polish, and blood stains from scratching could even be seen in the gaps. The other one is better, with only a toed leg visible inside, that leg still shakes from time to time. Hearing that this was done by Chopper, everyone looked at the reindeer. In front of them with wide eyes, Choppa, who was pulling the cart, looked back and saw this scene with a panic expression on his face. No. This is not me. I really didn't do it. I didn't put these things. But everyone had a look of disbelief. The eyes he looked at Chopper began to look strange. It's like watching something perverted. Will looked at their expressions and noticed something was wrong. Is this food different from what they saw? Thinking of it, Weir picked up the toad meat bun and took a bite. The tomatoes inside are bursting with juice, it tastes pretty good, but Nami and Usopp, who were sitting in front of him, stared blankly at the bubbling unknown liquid on their bodies. After a brief silence, an amazing scream broke out. Will ignored everyone's strange looks at him and handed the other sandwich to Luffy. To his surprise, Luffy wasn't afraid at all. I even felt that eating such food was a shame. Looking at his eagerness to try, Weir knew that this might not be a problem for him. A foodie, Luffy asked himself if this was really edible. After receiving a positive reply, he actually took the sandwich and ate it while everyone watched in horror, praising it while eating it. It's delicious. Try it. Thank you, no. Etc. Looking at this scene, Weir's eyes suddenly flashed with light. Food? He seems to know why made Ace injured. Chapter 19 Marshmallow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although I don't know what my sandwich looks like to you, but I think it must not be good, but even so, Luffy still eats it so deliciously. Since you can do it, why can't your brother Ace, who is also a foodie, do it? At that time, only you and Luffy will have to carry a medical box with their arms around each other, then take out one extremely dangerous-looking food after another from it to eat. After eating, the two of them kept praising it for being delicious. How could Ace, who has a similar brain circuit to Luffy, not want to try it? Maybe you, like Luffy, think this thing tastes very cool. Just take the bait. Pinch 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 pinch. Will can guarantee that you will eat until you can't stand up. In the end, you will blame Ace for having a bad stomach. Look, Luffy and I had nothing wrong after eating, but you had this problem, then you can't blame me, right? It must be your fault. As a doctor, it should be reasonable for you to help treat me. Even if Ace thinks he is unreliable and doesn't treat me, there is still Luffy. Luffy just explained it casually, and Ace still doesn't believe in his brother. Just give me a chance to attack. Pinch, pinch, pinch. I won't take care of you. When the time comes, Ace's scorpion will be invincible, whether it is a fruit or a physical skill. How can it be invincible? In the first half of the Grand Line, I just lay down. While thinking, Will's mouth also shed tears, with the dripping ketchup. It is also a unique flavor, except for the few people on the opposite side, who looked a little scared. Chopper led everyone to run all the way, galloping in the vast snow. It took a long time to reach the town with people. After another busy shopping, the sky had darkened. Everyone also set out on the journey back to the Mary. Unlike just now, the small sled was a little crowded now, on the way back, because of Zoro's guidance. Chopper almost took everyone off the cliff. Nami also kicked to the side of the last square. Well, she sat on Chopper's back and began to guide it back to the Mary. Ahahaha. Zoro. You are so stupid. I said we were going in circles. Luffy was still laughing at Zoro, who was a road idiot. Yeah. Let this guy lead the way. There is no other destination except taking us to hell. Sanji also said with a mocking face. Zoro just curled his lips when Luffy spoke, but as soon as Sanji spoke, Zoro couldn't bear it anymore. What did you say? Perverted cook. Huh? What do you want? Green Algae Head and Directionless. That the two performed a headbutt in front of Will. Seeing this scene, Will was also a little funny. It was exactly like the real Straw Hat Pirates. It was really interesting. Soon everyone came to the port where Luffy knelt. A white pirate ship was quietly docked here. The sheep-headed G in the front was eye-catching. Everything was exactly the same as in the original. We're here, Will. This is our ship. Luffy shouted, stretched out his arms, grabbed the railing and flew up. 1 minute later, on the Mary, everyone looked down quietly. There was a figure wearing a straw hat who was constantly busy. You don't help every time. This time you carry all the things up for me yourself. Nami shouted at Luffy with 2 big bags on his head below. Oh. Luffy was moving things in a depressed mood. His face was bruised and swollen. Vil also saw it at this time. Nami had the final say on the ship, and this was not a random statement. Vil, you guys pick a room too. There are 3 empty rooms on the ship. Nami turned to Will and said with a smile, in her opinion, Will was a rich man, of course. Her attitude was not the same as that towards those poor guys. Vil nodded and took Chopper to look around the ship, ready to have a good tour. The others were busy, only Luffy was carrying things hard, one trip after another. Vil also took Chopper to the kitchen at this time. Sanji was already busy inside. A lot of ingredients were flying in his hands. Dishes were also coming out quickly. It's really enjoyable to watch you cook, Sanji. Sanji also smiled when he heard it, but Will's next words made frown. If I don't look at your face. The kitchen soon erupted with shocking shouts. Get out. Coming out of the kitchen, Will saw Zoro exercising on the deck, looking at his perfect muscles. Will was greedy. When Will let sneak over, with Chopper, he chose the largest room, and Will sat down on the chair. Although there are 2 of us, it's enough for us to live in one room together. When it's hot, Chopper sleeps on the floor, and when it's cold, Chopper is a pillow. The main feature is a free switch. Chopper has already started to get busy at this time. When it was in town, it used its own pocket money to buy a lot of daily necessities. Of course, for 2 people, it also bought bedding, mats, pillows, decorations. A lot of things were soon decorated by Chopper in the small room for 2 people. The originally cold and deserted house was immediately warmed up at this time. Looking at what Chopper did, Will nodded with satisfaction. Not bad, well done. As soon as he finished speaking, Chopper started twisting again. Oh, it's just a so-so, not that good. Seeing its perverted look, Will was speechless, turned around and went shopping in the mall. you have to buy some hot stuff. Ace is not just a cat or dog, and he usually doesn't get a stomachache. The stuff must be hot. It must be so hot that you have to shake your head when you see it. At this moment, there was a burst of exclamations from the other side. There were also shouts for Chopper. Chopper! Come out and see. Luffy had already appeared at the door. Without waiting for Chopper's response, he grabbed it and pulled it out. On the other side, in the direction of the Drum Mountain, there was a beautiful picture. On the tall mountain, a large pink light was spreading. From a distance, it looked like a huge cherry tree. At this time, the cherry blossoms on the tree were blooming dazzlingly. Will was sitting in the house, and he knew what was happening on the other side without thinking. As expected, Chopper's crying was heard on the other side soon. The crying made people sad and tears came to the listeners. Even Will was touched. Will, who was still looking for something, also stopped. Silently exchanged a few marshmallows from the mall and put them aside. Then he started to search again. Soon, something appeared and made Will's eyes light up. Kidney treasure. Chapter 20. I'm just a ship's doctor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shenbao price, 1000 function. It is said to have tonic function. Evaluation. If a man wants to be good, he must drink Shenbao. 1 bottle will refresh his mind, 2 bottles will never make him tired, and 3 bottles will make him immortal. Oh yeah, not if you remembered correctly, this thing should be a product endorsed by Brother Dachiao. To be honest, it can only be said that it is unknown, but the price is 1,000 yuan, and the review is so long. Will only felt a sense of peace, but even so, he still felt it was not enough. He still has to add something and mix it. This one can only succeed, not fail. After a period of noisy noise, there was a brief silence outside, but what followed was an alluring aroma. The peaceful atmosphere that had just calmed down was immediately broken. The boat soon became lively again. After a while, Chopper's little head appeared at the door. It leaned forward and exposed its head. He looked at Will sheepishly. Maybe it was because I felt a little embarrassed because I cried too loudly just now. Brother, they asked to come and ask you to have dinner. Chopper said a little coyly. When Will heard this, he stood up holding the marshmallows on the table. Let's go. After handing it to Chopper, he also picked up Chopper and walked toward everyone. Singing and dancing had already begun outside. The deck is also bright, and a group of people are sitting around here. In the middle is the dish that Sanji just prepared. As soon as Will and the others sat down, Luffy announced that dinner was ready. Veer was also very hungry. No politeness, just grab a big piece of meat and start eating. Compared with the gentle appearance of others, Luffy's eating appearance is a bit scary. The rubber mouth is so full right now that one bite can show off 2 pigs. After receiving 2 more blows from Nami, Luffy finally restrained himself. Chopper was already stunned at this time. Luffy looked like that. He was really afraid that one day he wouldn't pay attention and end his life in his sleep. Became Luffy's food ration. Thinking like this, I couldn't help but lean against Weir again. Although a banquet was being held at this time, the boat had already started sailing, slowly heading towards Alabasta. Oh. Yes, Ver. I haven't told you yet, our next stop is going to a place called Alabasta, which is Weiwei's country. Her country is about to start a war now, so we have to send her back quickly. Luffy, who was enjoying his meal, suddenly thought of talking to Will. After a brief pause to cook, he looked at Weir and said. Hearing this, Weiwei also looked at Weir nervously. After all, he is now the most powerful person on the ship, although he didn't join for many years. If he objects, I don't know what Luffy will choose. At this time, Will, who was eating meat and pouring a cup of juice for Chopper, also replied after swallowing the food in his mouth. Is just a ship's doctor. He is only responsible for the physical condition of the crew. As for where the ship is going, shouldn't that be the captain's responsibility? You don't need to talk to about this kind of thing. If you feel unwell, you can go to. Will said with an indifferent expression. After he finished speaking, Weiwei breathed a visible sigh of relief. When Luffy heard this, it seemed that he finally thought that he was the captain. He looked like he was suddenly enlightened. Oh. That's right. Is the captain. Nami. Has the final say on where to go from now on. Unexpectedly, after 2 more blows, Luffy became honest again. I'm sorry it was too loud. Amidst the bursts of laughter, the banquet ended unconsciously. it was already late at night, and everyone went back to their rooms to rest. Looking at Zoro, who didn't seem to be drinking as he walked, was also surprised. This guy is so fierce. He just saw Sauron drink several bottles with his own eyes. That rum makes him dizzy after just 1 or 2 drinks. Chopper supported the swaying Will and walked towards their room. I originally wanted to take some strong medicine before going to sleep, but it seems I can only do it tomorrow. After opening the door and coming to the bed, Chopper threw Will on the bed. It itself lay tiredly next to Will. Soon everyone fell asleep. The next day, it was near noon. Will was finally woken up by the loud noise outside. He rubbed his still swollen head, picked up a glass of water on the bedside and drank it. It should have been Chopper. After drinking it, I obviously felt better in my head. This can't be done. Drinking capacity is too bad. I won't make them laugh to death when the time comes, so I have to find a way. While talking, we also got up and came to the door. I saw Chopper and Luffy Usopp holding fishing rods in their hands and looking blankly at a figure on the deck. Hey! What's going on? Are you guys fishing for someone? It looks like he's drowning. Do you want a doctor to save him? Where's the doctor? Luffy said with some confusion. Doctor! Doctor! Chopper shouted in panic when he heard this, but as soon as I finished shouting, I remembered that I was a doctor. Oh, is the doctor? After that, Chopper took out his medical kit and prepared to save people, but as soon as it moved, a scolding came over. Don't move. Don't move him. A doctor is coming. A professional doctor is coming. Will had a hungry smile on his face. He ran down. He knew who the drowned and unconscious person was at a glance. He was wearing a swan costume and looked like a demon. Who else could it be but Xiao Feng? He couldn't let Chopper take the head. He was also very envious of Xiao Feng's ability. This was really a pie in the sky. He came straight to the door. And it looked like a simple drowning. He had to be quick. Soon Will came to the side of the few people, and everyone looked at this side nervously. It's just a simple drowning. Chopper. Go. Get the toilet plug in our room. Hurry up. It really has to be quick, because if it doesn't hurry up, the patient will heal himself. Upon hearing this, Chopper also trotted and handed the toilet plug that he had just used yesterday to Will. Will didn't say anything and pressed it against Xiao Feng's mouth. Xiao Feng also woke up at this time, but when he opened his eyes, he saw a toilet plug with some unknown object stuck to his mouth. His eyes suddenly widened. That he made a protesting sound in his mouth, but it was useless. His body was also struggling violently, but Will stepped on his body tightly, and the powerful force made Xiao Feng unable to move. Will's hand did not stop for a moment. This scene, the people watching around all looked like they were in a state of panic. Their bodies leaned back involuntarily, their brows knitted tightly. This scene was really hard to accept. Is this how you save someone from drowning? Luffy and Chopper couldn't help but shudder.